Hey guys, and welcome to my take on the March 14th Shadows over Innistrad spoilers. We haven't had as many spoiled today, however they've been quite decent, so I'll be going over them now. We'll kick things off with Sage of the Ancient Lore, 4 colours and a green for an XX Human Shaman Werewolf. It reads, Sage of Ancient Lore's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. When Sage of Ancient Lore enters the battlefield, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Sage of Ancient Lore. So when it flips, it turns into Werewolf of Ancient Hunger, an XX Werewolf with Vigilance and Trample. It reads, Werewolf of Ancient Hunger's power and toughness are each equal to the total number of cards in all players' hands, as opposed to just being yours on the flip side. It then also has, at the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, transform Werewolf of Ancient Hunger. This is quite an odd card. It's quite peculiar. This is a green card. However, it seems a lot like a blue creature. It draws you a card when it enters. It cares about the number of cards in hands. It's an XX. In many ways, it's quite strange. I'd be happy picking one up in draft. I don't know how or where this would fit in the werewolf deck, but we'll have to see. Next up, we have Vampire Glutton, 1 red for a 2/1 Vampire Warrior. It reads, each vampire creature card you own that isn't on the battlefield has madness. Its madness cost is equal to its mana cost. So this is great. Not only is an aggressive creature being a 2/1 at 1 red, but it also gives the rest of your vampires madness, which can be insane in the right deck. I'd keep my eye out on this card. I'd be happy to pick one up in draft, but I'd also be happy to invest in this, as it will probably see play in the next red deck wins. Next up, we have Tainted Chains, a colourless and a blue for a 2/1 Flash Flying Spirit. When it enters the battlefield, target spirit gains hexproof until end of turn, and it then reads, you can cast spirit spells as though they had flash. This card is awesome. I like it. It's a pseudo protection spell, so if your opponent casts a removal spell on, say, one of your spirits, you can then flash this in and give it hexproof, nullifying their spell. I really like this. What pushes this card is the fact that it gives spirit spells flash. Keep in mind, stuff like Ghostblade Eidolon of Countless Battles, which have Bestow, can be cast at instant speed for their Bestow costs. This is huge for casual decks, and I really like the look of this card. Next up, we have Tooth of Slaughter, 2 colours and a black for an instant. Target player sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker. It then has Delirium, stating that they sacrificed a creature and a planeswalker. This card is incredibly strong. It's an Edict spell, which will always see play in Standard, since it gets around Indestructible and Hexproof. It also has the additional benefit of being able to hit planeswalkers, which can be relevant in this coming set. What does push this card though is the Delirium. It's a 2/1 for 3 mana if you have Delirium up. It's really strong and hard for your opponent to come back from. Next up, we have Macabre Waltz. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, then discard a card. I like this card a lot. Not only does it return 2 of your bombs in, say, draft, but it also triggers madness. And then on top of that, it has some really creepy art of Liliana dancing with a zombie. I'm liking this card a lot. Next up, we have Odric, Lunarch Marshal. 3 colourless and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, Human Soldier. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. The same is true for Flying, Death Touch, Double Strike, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Skulk, Trample, and Vigilance. And I'm sure they had enough room to fit in banding, but I'm fairly certain that giving all your creatures banding would be too powerful for Standard. All jokes aside, Odric Lunarch Marshal looks really good. He looks like a very fun build-around-me commander. However, I don't know if he'll see any Standard play, because at his base, he's 4 mana for a 3/3. That's not too good, but we'll see. And finally, moving on to our Planeswalker for today, we have Arlinn, 2 colourless, red-green, for a planeswalker that enters with 3 loyalty counters. She has 2 abilities, the first being +1. Until end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 and gains Vigilance and Haste. This is an interesting ability. Not only does it buff one of your creatures and give it haste, but it also gives it Vigilance, allowing you to swing in with it and then also be able to block on the swing back. It's an interesting ability and quite powerful for a 4 mana planeswalker. Her second ability is 0. Put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. Transform Arlinn. Yes, that's right, she's a dual-faced planeswalker. On the flip side, we have Arlinn, Embraced by the Moon. She has 3 abilities, the first being a +1. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. This is huge for token strategies that go wide instead of tall, as it allows the team to get bigger and also be able to get over some pesky jump blockers. Her -1 is basically a bolt. It hits most relevant creatures in the format, and it can also go to their face, helping them die quicker. The downside to this is her transforming, however I see it as more as an option as opposed to a downside, as her human form does stuff her werewolf form can't. Finally, we have her -6. You get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. This quickly finishes games and can basically give your creatures pseudo-unblockable, since they don't even need to go into combat to deal damage to your opponent. Overall, I think Arlinn does quite well. She'll definitely see some standard play. She synergizes quite well with other planeswalkers in the format, such as Nissa and Chandra, as well as filling out the curve in that green-red tokens deck. And with that comes the end of today's spoilers. I've been Forrest, and thanks for watching.